Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Situation with Creation, and I'm Creation. And today's subject or today's situation is a very controversial one. So, first, I'm going to say these are my personal views and my personal perceptions and experience in life. I don't speak for a group or as a whole. I just speak from my own personal experience. So if any of this or what I'm saying is offensive to you, I do apologize. But again, this is my own personal perception on how I think about the situation, the subject matter. So that's the disclaimer. That's the first beginning that these are my personal thoughts. These are not the expressions of everybody who I don't represent a group of people. I just represent my own personal life experience. Okay, that being said, now, the situation is about, I would say, the understanding of the statement that it's a sin to be gay. Okay? And I grew up in a time period, I should just tell you, I was born in 1974, so the time period was totally different. I grew up in the 80s, and at the time of me growing up, the church scene, because I grew up around um, I guess Christianity, there was Jehovah Witnesses, there was like the church people that had their own controversies and conflicts or what have you, but they were options. I never grew up with a family that specified which faith system to follow. We had to figure that out, based on what we believe, and that's where I learned that from. Peace my way. How do I want to believe, and then live in that truth of what I believe. So as I meet people over the years, and I've been to the Christian church group, I visited a mosque, I've been with the Jews, but the church or the black church, or just Christianity really in general. Not all Christians share it's a sin to be gay. There are some churches that are out there that are our allies and support, but the premise of the thought of that is still not supporting same sex relationships as being normal. So for me, whenever I encounter people who are in the mindset that they want to believe in God, they want to have, or higher power, no matter the faith system, if that faith system is teaching them that it's a sin or it's wrong or against nature to be gay, that's putting them in a mindset of I'm not accepted and I want a connection to my higher power, but yet the way that I love and the way that I care for an individual who's of the same sex is considered no, that's wrong. That's not natural. As I said in my earlier video about relationships, is that there's more than one type of relationship. There is that in Christian is or Judaism is the Adam and Eve relationship of leave and cleave and be one flesh, where you're procreating and you're living life and you're working, taking care of the kids. And then today it's I'm going on vacation sometimes, going to the doctor, going to school, and then doing my job, and then teach my kids to do the same thing. And that's one type of relationship, the heterosexual idea, which, is the norm and the majority, which is like the idea of the whole entire system. So when something comes along that's different in relationship, like a same sex loving person, then especially if you're in a religious mindset or a faith system that says, oh, we don't believe in same sex partnerships or men loving men or women loving women because we think that's an abomination or we think that's against God and that's not how things work. And then I started thinking to myself, I grew up in that and I was in that mindset thinking that, I'm a gay man and I think that, this is a sin, the way I didn't choose to be this way. Do you really think I'm going to choose to live a life where I'm persecuted? I would go with heterosexuality in a minute if I thought that's what was natural within myself to do. Why would I choose a way of feeling or a way of being drawn to a person that's going to cause me, these atrocities going on in the world. Like there's subject matters that you can study upon, corrective rape or conversion camps where they can take people who don't conform to heterosexuality, which I'm not against, obviously, because that is a natural relationship. But they use these ideas of conversion camps and corrective rape to fix a problem that they think is wrong within the individual who is naturally inclined to love the same sex person. So they take them to these conversion camps that's going to recondition them, which to me, if you have to condition me to do it, then it's not normal for me in the first place. And with the way I'm created is natural by the creator. So if I'm at peace and I'm not harming nobody because I love Mr. Right over there, then that's not a problem. But if you're saying I need to go to a conversion camp so I can get reconditioned to go out and have relations with a woman to procreate because that's what the majority says to do, or a religion or a faith says to do, and then persecute me and tell me that I'm wrong if I'm not there living in Cleveland, leaving or cleaving to the woman or however to make these babies, then that's a sin within himself as far as I'm concerned. I think that goes against the way the Creator loves us and created us all. And, corrective rape for a woman who is a same gender loving woman as opposed to introduce her to intimacy with a man against their will to say, oh, we can fix that problem for you. You just need to do this. You need to just find the right man, or I need to find the right woman as opposed to put me in the right way. I'm telling you, all of that is garbage. I'm telling you, that is not natural. If you have to condition me and change me the way I was created and born, then they're going against what's natural. There are penguins out there taking care of little kids, and there are two male penguins, two female seagulls partnering with each other. That's in nature. But my idea of what I'm thinking today is like in terms of Christianity, because that's where I was, brought up in. They like the idea of, Adam and Eve and leaving and cleaving, and you need to get your wife and procreate and, those kind of things. And then there's the idea of being born again in the kingdom. They believe in spirit. But my question is, where in the spirit do you need to leave and cleave and be with your wife? If in the spirit means that God is a spirit and you worship God in spirit and in truth, I'm saying then that means I'm not thinking about who I'm going to go make babies with, because according to what we're taught in Christianity, when we go to heaven, there is no marriage up there. The Creator, God, is the center of attention. There's the angels, and there is spirit beings. We're like spirit beings, like the angels. We're not giving into marriage. So why are we worrying about if I'm procreating or not? And so, in terms of I've been in the baptism, and the thing, I grew up in the apostolic faith where they believe that Jesus Christ is the baptism for salvation. So I'm like, okay, so I'm in Jesus Christ, and they believe in gifts of the Spirit and, the fruit of the Spirit, love and joy and peace and all those wonderful things. And I thought, okay, so what's the problem with me loving the man who is same as me? We're not procreating. And I'm thinking, well, I love the spirit in that man, which is the creator to me. And I think the problem is that they don't like the way the flesh is getting together. I'm telling you, you don't really have to engage in body to body contact to be in love and be with your same sex partner. It's a choice if you want to. But I'm telling you this, that if you're going by that kind of thinking, that flesh don't enter into heaven. So why are you worried about what my physical body is doing when it's the spirit within that's a concern when you get born again into the spirit? We are spirit beings. We are not running around trying to get married and have babies, because that's not what the kingdom is about at all. It's about renewal. It's about spirit. When we go to heaven, we're not going to be having babies and marriages and things of that nature up there. And we should be having days of heaven on earth. We should be living like we're in the kingdom right now, not waiting for it. But that's another story. But I just say all this for the example that I and my Father are one is an idea where the Messiah is in a relationship with a spirit being that he calls Father, that supplies, comforts, and does all the things that is necessary for his life and well being. And there was no need for the woman at all. And so my idea is that if you're going to condemn my brothers and sisters who are the same sex loving people, then consider what living in the spirit really means. Because when you understand what living in the spirit really means, you're going to find that the fruit of the spirit is the behavior, not the works of the flesh, like getting married and then producing all those ideas that don't get you into a spirit place. Now, it's not wrong to leave and cleave and have babies, but that's just an earthly idea of existence. Now, if you want an existence that's like the Creator in terms of non fleshly or the outward appearance of what you look like in terms of genitals or breasts or whatever it is you're looking at, get into the spirit and you'll find that the relationship is totally different. That you won't be wanting to leave and cleave, you'll want to be with the creator of creation as a spirit being and live as a spirit being with that same sex partner who the relationship is about being spirit beings, being the same, not being opposite physical outward apparent beings producing children. Not that that's wrong, as I've said plenty of times before, but I just want the understanding to be told through my own personal perspective that it's not a sin to be gay. That if you want to eat meat before God and have a good time, then don't tell your neighbor what you're doing because they may just want to eat vegetables and that is their faith and they're happy to it. If you want to leave and cleave and have all the babies you want. But my relationship to the creator creation being with Mr. Right in the spirit, where the creator is expressing itself as being the spirit being in the fruit of the spirit, where we love each other and care about each other unto the creator creation as a relationship, has nothing to do with leaving and cleaving and being in the flesh of one. And then they want to promote that like that's how I should live. When that's contrary to the spirit, that's contrary to what God's will is in peace and in love in the fruit of the spirit. So that's why when I have someone ask me, is it a sin to be gay? And it's like, what is your answer to that? I'm going to tell you, first of all, I went through Christianity and I had to critically think about where this information is even coming from. So if they're saying it's a sin to be gay, where did they learn that from? They're going to say, oh, it's written in the book. It's the word of truth. It's God's truth. Well, who wrote that book? And did you talk to this guy personally? And if the answer is no, then why are you following that? Go to the history of where all of that is even coming from before you make these critical decisions on life where you're committing suicide and doing all these bad things to yourself based on somebody said they read something in the book or they heard the voice of God through some trained and conditioned information written where they condition themselves to hear certain information in certain situations where they say, oh, that's God speaking based on what I learned in the scriptures. Well, if you learn, is that something naturally learned from the womb? When you come out of the womb, you just start hearing the voice of God telling you all that? No. So that's my personal perspective on how all of that works. So I would encourage anybody, even the allies. I mean, if you really want to be married and having children, you go do that. But please do not condemn the brothers and sisters who have a different relationship and they want to be in spirit with the Creator. I think the main focus is that when they look at same-sex people, and their behavior, they just want to see, oh, they're hooking up and they're doing all this stuff because all they know is outward appearance and the body getting together. But there's something way beyond it. If our brothers and sisters of the same sex people will become aware and learn how spiritual they really are and how that same sex attraction is from the Creator in a spirit sense. It's a relationship that's just as real as the flesh one, as the earth one, as having babies, having spirit. David and Jonathan, Ruth and Naomi. It's all kind of relationships that is not really talked about or shown as a spirit relationship. And these people who are like gay, like myself, are like killing themselves and being condemned all because they love somebody. And understand there's a difference between love and lust. Lust, none of that's right, whether you're gay or straight. Lust is still not gonna prove and give you anything that's really spiritual. But when it comes to love, which is a fruit of the spirit, that's a different behavior, different manifestation. And love works just as well if you want to go have some babies and do all that stuff. But I'm telling you, same sex people who have partners that look like themselves on the outward appearance in terms of male or female, that's a spirit relationship and it's just acceptable because the desire isn't to get together to produce a child. Is to get together to express the spirit from the Creator in the fruit of the spirit, which is love and peace and all those wonderful things in life. So I think we should all try to get along with each other and understand that it's just as normal to have a same sex relationship as it is to have an opposite one. So if you think it's a sin to be gay, you can think what you want to think and you can do what you want to do. But I'm saying, please critically think about why you believe that. And if because someone taught you, because we are born into this system and ideas of things that we didn't create. And our only learning and understanding is by what was here before us, like our parents and grandparents. And so when you get into this existence and you learn that, oh, there's a system of, there is a God somewhere and all these different things, and they're teaching you the rules of life. Oh, you're not allowed to be having sex with, the same sex. Oh, that's the sin. That's not about, you leave the natural use of the woman and some of the things they want to say. But first of all, leaving the natural use of the woman means a fleshly use of the woman. In the spirit, where would you use that woman for anything? You don't even need the use of that woman when you're in the kingdom, when you're in the spirit. So saying to me, I'm like a Roman looking for salvation because I'm having same body contact with a man, saying, oh, they leave the natural use of the woman, they're reprobate. Well, let's think about what spirit is. And in the kingdom, where I'm already supposedly born again and not a person looking for salvation like a Roman, I think there's a different rule set and a different relationship status that I can have my faith before God and not someone else. Because I answer for my personal experience, not everybody else's. We don't have a group judgment. It's an individual one if you believe in such a way. So I would say let's get along and stop busybodying in other people's affairs and life circumstances that they don't live as. If somebody's eating over there eating liver and that's not what I want to do, then I'm not going to judge them. I'll say, okay, they like liver and I don't like it, but I'm not going to go and get up and say, oh, I think it's wrong that you're eating that. It's not my place to tell them that. Everybody's allowed their own personal spirit, personal situation, whether it's wrong or whether it's right. But who are we to judge what is right or wrong? All I do is say, is that peaceful for me? Can I interact peaceful with it? If it's something I want to do, I depart from it. I separate myself. I don't condemn them. I say, oh, okay, that's what you do. I see. I understand how you're doing that. I seek to understand you. But, understand I don't do that. I do this. And I'm not going to condemn you or judge you. I'll just go somewhere else while you're doing that. Then we can convene later after you do your personal favor to the Creator. So that's my spiel to that was something that was on my heart and something that I was talking to a friend about because I really do despise the separation and that condemning nature and idea of telling somebody that it's a sin to be gay and then they're killing themselves or they're depressed, they're they're going into some kind of facility or we need to go to a conversion camp or some place, some fake want to correct or rape something to make it into what they think is right. You know what? Accept everybody for their own manifestation of what they are from the Creator. They have the right to express who they are. If they're not bothering anybody, don't go to the club. Don't go to the party. If you don't want to do what they're doing and they're in a private place, not in the streets doing whatever, then don't go over there looking with the binoculars. Miss Jones, keep your binoculars to yourself down the street. What I do in my house is my business before God, and I'm not going to bother you. So I would encourage everyone to try to understand that we have the personal right to express who we are. We have the creator given right to be at peace the way that we feel. And we should not be judged for that. We should not be told by one faith system because their culture says that we don't permit this type of behavior. You know what? Thank you for teaching me that. And I still care and I'm at peace with you, but please don't tell me that I'm going to go into some place that you think is torment because I'm doing something that you wouldn't do. I may not do that and that kind of stuff or wear those type of clothes or do that type of activity, but that does not mean I'm going to a place of torment. So I would say we just learn to accept each other as who we actually are and love each other and be at peace with each other and enjoy the differences in the relationships and open our minds and expand and seek to understand the neighbor instead of judging the neighbor and condemning the neighbor because they don't do what we do. Households, they manifest different rules and sets from family to family. So you know what? I'm not going to go into sister so and so's house and tell her how to rule her house if that's not what she wants to do. But I will respect her rules, and if it's something that I do, I will gladly leave and say, okay, I don't really do this, but I will leave and we can get back together once we're doing things that we have in common that we can do together in peace and not offend one another. So if you do have any questions, I know this is a little controversial and it's a little, I hope I didn't. I mean, if my idea is not to offend, my idea is to educate and bring awareness to certain items. This is just my personal perspective. So if it's something that you disagree with, I mean, feel free to write, type in what it is. If you don't want to subscribe, don't do that. If you do, you go ahead and subscribe, do whatever it is you feel is peaceful for you. So, as again, I always say, have a peaceful day, smile because you're somebody, and this is Creation with Situation Creation, and I'll be back again with another subject matter. And as a disclaimer again, this is just my personal perception and ideas of living life my way, my peaceful way, and not someone else's. So, thank you for listening, and bye. Peace.